1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, I'm James Hake. This is the Hake Report. It's Friday, December 6th, 2019. And the men's forum last night was excellent. And there was a Fallen State taping yesterday, which was excellent. A couple of tapings. I captured a picture of one of them. Sneak peek. Take a look at this. I'm not going to tell you who it was, but it's an interesting scene. Unusual little battle there. Just a photograph, and what are they doing? Is that an arm wrestling match? I don't know. Just a little sneak peek. As a Hake Report exclusive. It's a leak. All right. So, yeah, the men's forum was so cool. Were you able to show any pictures from the men's forum? Did Jesse ask for them at all? No. Let's show a few pictures from the men's forum. Just a few, which was so cool yesterday. I always love the men's forums, and it actually did make me think about the biblical question. Maybe partly because I knew I would be asked about it eventually. The biblical question of Jesse Lee Peterson this week is something like, where is the spirit of the man, and what does it look like? But anyways, really cool men's forum. Guys drove in from out of state. One guy in particular. Almost every month, somebody flies in or drives in from out of state, or is visiting or whatever. Some specifically to come to the men's forums. And so, the faithful people in person and dealing with issues, some from understanding, some from not understanding about life, and some married, some unmarried, and all kinds of issues. It's cool. So I really love the men's forums, and it's nice that I'm able to go to practically all of them. Some people were trying to be cute and didn't make it. Talking about they got to go to bed, stuff like that. No, I'm playing around. But, yeah, so, I noticed that, yes, facts matter, but it's more important that truth matters, because anybody can spew facts. Once they learn a few facts, they can spew them. And it doesn't mean they're coming from the truth, the spirit of truth. I think that Jesus talked about the spirit of truth, right? Something like that. I read the Bible, and I noticed that people can tell stuff that is like factual, but then like they're telling it at the wrong time, or they're just being evil about it. You'll notice that the liberal media does this all the time. And also some people are vindictive about it. And I'm going to talk about some people who do a big no-no in the Jesse Lee Peterson recommendations. One among Jesse's recommendations, or strong warnings against doing, is turning on the people that have helped, who have helped you in the past. And if you were watching the video intro, the little slideshow intro that Joel played for you guys at the beginning of this show, of my show, you would have seen some headlines about some guy that says that he worked for Alex Jones. I cannot confirm, but he's like going around lying about Alex Jones, calling him a conspiracy theorist. Whatever, conspiracy theorist. I don't know if I would. It's just like the stuff that he said are really ridiculous, covering his own rear, betraying the man who gave him a great, well-paying job, and just saying a whole bunch of unnecessary things about the guy. Really dirty, slimy person. Who would trust a man like that? So, but the children of the lie applaud such behavior, especially when it's attacking someone who purportedly at least stands up for decency. So same thing they're doing with Donald Trump, with Trump's housekeepers who supposedly were illegal aliens. And they claim that their managers knew, as if it makes it all better. Now they can be trusted, right? They brazenly commit fraud, admit to it, purchasing $50 fake IDs or something like that, false social security numbers, fraudulently getting an I-9, right? Because I've dealt with illegals that I surmise they're illegals because they don't have driver licenses and they're like grown adults with kids and everything, married and all that stuff, supposedly. And they don't have driver licenses, so I'm thinking, these people are probably illegals. But anyways, I am going to get to your calls. Appreciate that. And I will get some of the details about these hit pieces on Trump and Alex Jones, who's another radio host guy. And but first, let me quickly finish this Uber report. Uber, if you don't know, is like a riding service, kind of like a wannabe taxi service, or actually like the next generation of taxis, where if you have a smartphone, you put your bank info on it or your credit card info, you can book a taxi ride online. Only it's called Uber. And then just regular Joe Schmoes who sign up to be Uber drivers will get the notification on their phones, so-and-so wants a ride, and they'll come pick you up and take you where the destination that you dictated. And there's been, probably everybody knows about what Uber is, right? Okay. But there have been negative incidents in the media, right? Publicized. 3,045 sexual assaults in the course of 2 years. With how many billions of rides? I don't know, a lot. 3.1 million trips per day, average. 3.1 million trips in the United States. I don't know if it's just continental. 99.9% ended without incident, but 3,045 so-called sexual assaults. Some probably legitimate, some probably vindictive, illegitimate lies, I'm sure. Right? Bound to happen over the course of billions of rides, right? 9 homicides, meaning kind of like murders or whatever. 58 fatal car crashes on 1.3 U.S. rides in 2018. That's in 2018 alone. They documented all this stuff across 2017, 2018. A homicide happened in 1 in every 122 million trips over the 2-year period. A sexual assault was reported in 1 in every 5 million trips. A fatal car crash occurred in 1 in every 20 million trips. The rate of vehicle fatalities, they note, by miles traveled is less than half the rate of the U.S. as a whole. Interesting. But here's Uber is a liberal company. They have banned people like Laura Loomer for saying, I can't find a non-Muslim driver because she didn't want to ride with a Muslim. She has the right to discriminate as a person, but they were, I don't know. It was not politically correct. And so they banned her. Uber and Lyft did. Lyft is a competitor to Uber. But they're partnering with this company, this nonprofit organization called RAINN, RAINN. Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, founded in Washington, D.C. in 1994, celebrating 25 years. Jesse's organization is older. With this weird singer Tori Amos as its female spokesman. The nation's largest anti-sexual violence organization. They sound like an evil group, to be honest. Wolves in sheep's clothing, right? Uber plans to offer a dedicated hotline for so-called survivors of sexual assault to provide support and specialized services. Sexual assault and misconduct training will be mandatory for all U.S. drivers. Eye roll. Uber says it will continue to produce safety reports every 2 years. Stock is down, by the way, for Uber. I mean, I don't trust these nonprofits are run by liberals, and Uber is run by liberals. But this thing is really a non-issue. Is that Tori Amos? She is classically trained and good to listen to if you're depressed and have no soul. If you have a soul, then you listen to Sitting by the Dock of the Bay. But yeah, I just remember hearing her singing that REM song, Losing My Religion. Isn't that a REM song? Yeah, Nick forgot she existed. And she has like a wide range, I think. She's known for that, being classically trained. But I don't know. She's a 90s pop star. Not even pop, 90s singing star. Wow, she's weird. Yikes. Wild looking. Yeah, that's a good description. Let me get to a couple of callers, and then I'll tell you guys about this hit piece on Alex Jones by this guy. I forget his name, but it's just it kind of shows you what kind of person he is more so than Alex. Lucas out of Los Angeles, California. Lucas, how are you?
Hey, James, I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing fine. What's up?
I'm gonna ask my first question just to get this out of the way. I'm pretty sure everyone else wants to know. There's that song. It's like I think the song's called Beta, but Joel played it yesterday on like at the end of the second hour in the break, and it goes like Beta, and then it's like go back to your creator. And do you know that?
Oh.
Where I could find that song?
Yeah, Google or YouTube search Tyler James? Tyler Unruh.
Tyson.
Oh, Tyson James. Tyson James.
Okay.
I think it's
okay,
the
perfect.
channel name is Tyson Unruh, right?
Yeah.
But it says Tyson James asterisk beta asterisk.
Okay, all right, perfect. Yeah, because that song was dope.
Yeah.
But and my next thing, it's not really a question. I just wanted to say, there's this guy that I really think that you guys should try to get on your show or on the Fallen State or
all right.
Jesse interview him.
Yeah,
he's
send the
really
tip
popular.
to.
He's a black.
Send the tip
he's a
to the
black
producer.
Republican conservative.
Yeah, send
All
the
right.
tip to the producer. Appreciate that.
All right, yeah, I could do that.
Nice to hear from you, Lucas, man. Are you coming to church?
Definitely, man. Yeah, dude, I just got a second job, and now I'm working Sunday mornings.
Oh, okay.
And I work Friday. Like right now, I'm walking to work right now, actually. But I work Friday mornings, Friday nights, Saturday mornings, Saturday nights, Sunday mornings, Sunday nights, and then I'm off Mondays and Wednesdays.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of But I'm trying to move out of my mama's house. That's for sure.
Congratulations, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
Did you happen to make it to the men's forum last night?
No.
Okay.
No, yeah, I work Thursdays
night. Too. Okay.
So, yeah.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm working a lot. Yeah.
Right on, man.
All right.
Congratulations. 2 jobs.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, man.
All right. Yeah, you too. You have a good night.
All right. You too. He's tired, maybe. Let's get to Earl out of Michigan. Earl, your phone is crunchy. Hold on, Earl. I'm going to put Earl on hold. That phone is maybe too obnoxious to be taken right now. Let me quickly get to Maze. Not to be confused with Hot Computer Smell. Hot Computer Smell from Virginia. How are you?
Well, hello, James. How are you today? I'm just listening to you and Jesse always talking about how black people don't do nothing for this country, how they fed you, clothed you, all type of white people, Caucasians and all that. Always try to give you things, and you'll never listen to them, and you'll never never give them no respect, okay?
She laughed.
So you're going to sit there, and you're going to go, I can't do it.
She broke down like a couple of times.
I tried, but I was laughing.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
That's pretty good. Especially like you came in with that disturbing Jamaican accent. Maze, don't do that Jamaican accent. I noticed that you didn't do it. I noticed that you stopped, and I do appreciate that because that was too disturbing. I prefer your normal voice. I just listen closely, and I can catch it. You can just slow down naturally.
I don't like the Jamaican names.
Yeah, me
like
neither.
After this phone call, kind of summoned me, so she might just come out of the blue.
Right.
But anyway.
Yeah. That Jamaican accent is like demonic. Normal Jamaicans, if they have a Jamaican accent, it's fine. But Maze, it doesn't come off well doing that. So, well, you already know. You already fixed it, Maze. I appreciate that. Thank you, Hot Computer Smell. Very nice impression.
All right. I'll see you later.
Take care. So, let me quickly do this. I want to jump on this. So, the reason that I'm covering this is that Jesse makes a point, Jesse Lee Peterson. You know, the guy I formerly produced for. He does the show for 3 hours before this show, Monday through Friday. I have my own show on my own channel, Sundays, 9 a.m. Subscribe to the Hake Report. Also, subscribe to Bond Rebuilding the Man YouTube channel, which is Jesse Lee Peterson's church channel. You can, if you're working like, I already blanked on that guy's name. Lucas from Los Angeles, you're working all the time, can't make it to church during the course of the when it's live, catch it on YouTube or on podcast. It is available on Google Play. I think it's on Spotify now, and it's on, you know, the usual Apple Podcasts, formerly known as iTunes, and a bunch of different podcast platforms. So check it out. Podcasts are nice because for the boomers and Gen X's out there that don't know, it saves a little bit of data and power listening as opposed to having the video playing. So it doesn't take up as much internet bandwidth. Anyways, so here's this. I got this push notification because I get, you know, iPhone and they have Apple News, which they push the news to you that they think is relevant. I prefer Drudge. And I know that you guys don't like Drudge, some of you anymore. I haven't really noticed what you guys are talking about. But anyways, the New York Times reports a former InfoWars employee has a story to tell about working for the conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, as if New York Times is not conspiracy theorists. They hate Trump. They push racism, which is the worst, most destructive, one of the worst, most destructive conspiracy theories. Sexism, which is another conspiracy theory. False conspiracy theory, that is. And this so-called employee finally reached his limit. So he wrote this piece in New York Times. I worked for Alex Jones. I regret it. And there's this illustration of Jones with the top of his head on fire. It's like a drawing or painting or something by Eric Yanker. Some name. So it's by this guy named Josh Owens. And he's making these like side stories about Jones, implying negative things about him, and talking about his trying to not make him mad and stuff like that. Total beta talk, to be honest. And just like their tactics of like how they seek after stories. Some of it's kind of interesting. But for the most part, it's just a bunch of gossip. Girly, right? And it reflects negatively on this guy, because what employer would hire a guy like this? You're bound, especially somebody who's rich or powerful or very famous like Alex Jones, going to attract a lot of crummy people like this guy. And this guy, according to his story, he was a young, video making major, film maker, whatever, like that type of student. And said that he was young and angry. He's still angry. He just doesn't know it, or maybe he just doesn't admit it. But liberals, which this guy comes off as a liberal, are angry. We know that. But he talked about he had his limits. And listen to this line. I can't say I ever believed in his avowed theory that Sandy Hook was a staged event to push for gun control. Avowed theory? What does that even mean, avowed theory? He didn't avow it. Avow means correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't avowed mean he has to vow that he thinks it's true? Every line that I've heard he said it as though it was speculation. He sometimes says stuff as though it's facts and changes it and stuff like that. But it's more. If you know how he reports things, and I don't even watch him much, right? you know that he's kind of speculating or repeating speculations or possibilities of what's going on. So it was not a avowed theory, but that is his way of covering his butt, if I can say that word. And then he says, to Jones, everything was a false flag. I didn't believe that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama smelled like sulfur because of their proximity to hell, or that Planned Parenthood was run by Nazi baby killers. So he's just protecting himself among fellow liberals so that he can still have a writing career. To me, that's how I read how this guy, what's his first name again? Josh Owens is saying this stuff. But it was easy to brush off these fever dreams as eccentricities or excesses, not the heart of the Alex Jones operation, but mere diversions, which is true. They are. Anyways, he talks about all kinds of mess, supposed temper tantrums that he claims that Jones had, just being messy. That's not a man wouldn't do this. And then he pretends to tell positive stories about Jones so that he looks fair and balanced. But we already know what he's coming from, because the purpose of going on New York Times and trashing him in general is to trash him and to get more attention, because not everybody has worked for Alex Jones and then turned on him. So now they found one. Same thing too with this Donald Trump thing. This guy, and it's so petty, the stuff that he talks about. And it's really messy. Talking about, I don't even want to repeat it, to be honest. It's unclassy. But I just wanted to point it out to you that people are this is bound to happen, because somebody, like I said, somebody who attracts a lot of attention is going to get a lot of snakes amongst the decent people, even among the employees. Like Jesse Lee Peterson also says, you can't trust an angry person. And regardless of whether Alex Jones is an angry person or not, this beta male is an angry person. You can't trust him. So, and he seems to almost sympathize with Black Lives Matter, in my opinion, calling them protesters, as opposed to rioters, which is what most of them were, agitators. But it's interesting, he had dinner with the leader of the Nation of Islam, Louis Farrakhan, at his home in Phoenix, and spent a weekend at the compound of Jim Bakker, the televangelist who spent time in prison for fraud. And such interesting stuff. So he had this great career, and then he turns around and stabs Alex in the back. What a shame. What an evil person. And then he talks about going into this Muslim world. And it's just, and then he goes into this Muslim area called Islamburg in New York or somewhere? Upstate New York. Islamburg. Muslim majority community to investigate the American caliphate, right? And then on his flight home, he sees this little Muslim girl, and he gives her his window seat, so that she can look out. And he's getting all emotional. I glanced over at this little girl staring out the window in wonder, her face glowing from the light reflecting off the clouds. She was amazed, joyful, innocent, carefree, and completely unaware of the world beneath her, implying that Alex Jones is the source of a dark world, and not New York Times, which he's writing in. What a dark person, right? Coward. So Josh Owens is a writer living in Texas. This is his first article for the magazine. I guess it's New York Mag, but it's featured in the New York Times. So it's just trash. But that's an example of a Judas. Kind of like what Trump said to the Democrats, what you're about to do quickly. And Jesus said that to Judas Iscariot before he went off and sold Jesus out. So I'm going to get to Trump's housekeepers, and then hopefully this woman who hates her father that I came across on Twitter. Just a daughter of a cop who's probably a Zoomer or maybe a millennial and has no class. very interesting little side story for you. If I don't get to it today, I'll get to it Sunday on the Hake Report. But let me get you some more calls. Let me see if Earl's back on the line. Much better, Earl. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I appreciate you holding on and fixing your phone.
And, no, I didn't fix my phone. It came from your end.
Whatever.
But as Roland Martin says, game recognized game.
Who said that?
I was going to talk about your stance that there's no racism and so forth. And also, if I can, Colin Kaepernick. But
Who said game recognizes game? Roland Martin?
yeah.
The fat guy? With
Well, you may call him fat or whatever.
with the black preacher wife? I mean, it's pots and
Yeah.
kettles for me. I'm not exactly skinny anymore. But whatever.
Right. Well, I don't talk about his weight. It's like I don't talk about your beard. But,
What's wrong with my beard?
Are you Captain Bly or something?
Captain
I
what?
don't But
I thought you didn't talk about my beard. Captain what?
no, I didn't. I
All
haven't
right.
talked about it.
It's funny to
But,
hear him laugh.
You know, racism exists, and existed, whether you recognize it or not.
Only in your mind and all the other blind
because,
people's minds.
You can deny it.
Only
like
in
you
your
can
imagination and all the other blind people's
Just like you can-
imaginations.
Just like you can deny there's stars in the sky.
No, I don't.
You can deny it, but it still exists.
The stars we can see, racism doesn't exist. It's just in your
It don't
imagination.
matter. You can still deny it, and it still exists.
You can still pretend that you can read white people's minds, but you can't.
You don't have to read it.
Yeah, you
That's
do.
the facts. Facts
You don't
are
know
facts.
facts. Anyways,
No, you don't know. No, you just don't want to recognize because it blows your little theory
no,
the water.
not true.
For instance, I was going to talk to Jesse about it, but we didn't have time.
Yeah.
You know, if folks look back on a podcast, I guess me and him did about in December 12th, 2018, and December 14th.
Memory like a grudge-holding woman. I'm playing.
Well, people can access those podcasts. December 14th.
You did a podcast with
2018.
Jesse?
Well, you know, I was on the podcast.
Yeah. I'm playing.
And so I mentioned an example of racism clearly and distinctly, whereas it was undeniable. But in another case of racism, if you I know you weren't there, but old enough. But you know, in 1936, when the Nazis and your namesake, Hitler, Adolf Hitler.
Why are you calling my namesake?
Because you're mini Hitler. You're baby Hitler, but you're mini me.
Minnie Lee and Baby Hitler.
Mini me. But
What do you call me? You call me Miss Lee? Forget you. That's too far.
but you know, in 1936.
Were you around in there?
Were
Were you around in 1936, or are you too young too?
You're trying to gauge my age. Just shut up and let me make my statement. Don't try to be
Yes,
slick.
sir, Mr. Elder.
But when he wanted to prove that the Aryan race was superior, that you said racism didn't exist, and Jesse Owens blew that theory out the water when he won 4 gold medals and proved that Aryan race was not superior. And also in 1936, when Joe Louis was boxing, and Max Nelson knocked him out, and Nazis taunted that whites were superior because they're the best in the world, until Joe Louis came back in a rematch and knocked Max Nelson out.
I guess that was the beginning of the end for white people, huh?
No, that was just a fact of how whites promoted that they were superior.
Yeah.
And
but I mean, today blacks call whites Neanderthals and cave dwellers and inbred and pedophiles and stuff like that. You don't think is that racist?
Well, I don't know what you might call it, but I know his name calling.
Yeah, they think that whites are inferior. They're like I saw one YouTube comment. Let me just interrupt briefly with a quick story. I saw a YouTube comment, and some guy, I think he said, "Yeah, whites have the higher IQ, but we're so much superior physically. We'll just enslave them, make them, make the cool stuff that whites can make, and then take their white women as concubines." That's what some black guy said on YouTube. It was funny.
You might have outliers of blacks maybe say something here.
Freddie P wants me to get rid of you.
And so forth, but that doesn't represent the whole race.
Well, how come you don't make that discount for the Nazis? That doesn't represent all the Nazis. Just because a few of them thought that Joe Louis should have lost, doesn't mean that all Nazis thought that.
That was the Nazis' manifesto.
That doesn't represent. That doesn't represent the whole race.
That's what they campaigned. That's what the leader and all his subordinates campaigned and what to falsehood that was true.
Same thing with that's the same thing that your namesake said. You know your namesake? Because you're Mini Farrakhan, Baby Farrakhan.
Oh, stop copying this.
Yeah, because Farrakhan thinks that he's superior.
That's lame.
Farrakhan thinks that the blacks created the whites.
You can't get me back.
Whatever.
And
Farrakhan's is every bit as bad as Hitler.
And another thing, Kaepernick, he has the right.
Actually, Farrakhan's worse because he's still living. Hitler can't do anything more. He's dead.
Yeah, but his policies and so forth.
You don't even know his policies.
And you're an example of it.
Whatever.
Meaning me.
Why are you complimenting? Why are you paying compliments to Adolf Hitler by comparing me to him?
Example.
You must love Hitler. You're a Hitler lover. Because you're comparing me to him, and I'm a nice guy.
Because you have nothing to fall back on.
All right, Earl, nice talking with you, man. I'll talk to you again.
Yeah. Okay, then I'll talk about Kaepernick another time.
That sounds good. I look forward to that.
All right, Mini-Me. Goodbye.
Bye. First, is he calling himself Hitler? He's called me Mini Hitler, and now it's Mini-Me. Anyways, let me quickly get to a couple of more calls. Lynn, out of Chicago, Illinois. Lynn, nice to hear from you again, man.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing fine.
That's great. I was wondering what did you think of how the superintendent of Chicago, Eddie Johnson, or as they call him, Kidney Bean, what do you think about him getting fired for all of his gross activities?
Okay. I haven't really looked into this story, but when you said superintendent, I was thinking of the public schools in Chicago. But you're talking about the police superintendent, Eddie Johnson, who did not show up to the Sheriffs of America or something like that, Police Chiefs of America, that speech that was in Chicago where Trump spoke just a month or two ago.
Trump.
Yeah. And this black police superintendent, politician, got fired by the lesbian mayor, Lori Lightfoot. He was reportedly I read briefly, just skimmed over a little bit of the story. Like he was caught sleeping in his car, and he claimed, or it came out that he had a couple of drinks or something. So you know how, well, if you're a drinker, then you would know that drinking sometimes can put you to sleep. So he fell asleep, I guess, in his car, or get you tired, and so he was not forthright with the lesbian mayor, and so she fired him. I bet you his replacement will be even worse, to be honest.
Yeah, I think we're getting some idiot from Los Angeles.
Yeah, that guy. Oh,
Like worthless.
Yeah, that idiot from Los Angeles was the, I guess, police chief here or something like that. Charlie Beck, I think. Am I mistaken, or was Charlie Beck the one? He was one of the guys years ago pushing for illegals to get driver licenses. And the pretense is that, oh, it's safer that way, they're registered and blah, 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 blah. In reality, he should be pushing for the feds to come in and deport the illegals. But no, he wants to be politically correct. He's a liberal. And he's not going to be any better than Eddie Johnson, even though he's white. Speaking of baby Hitler talk, right?
Hispanic or something. He doesn't look white.
Oh yeah, maybe he's mixed. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But regardless, he's not going to be any better. He's, like you said, an idiot from L.A. It's a mess. I think he might have even, some of these people, it's so weird that they transfer from New York to L.A. to Chicago, and none of them are successful. I mean, in terms of bringing the crime down and making the cities safer, it's a mess.
Well, the taxpayers are paying for that, and in the meantime, they're getting a second pension, which, I guess it works out somehow. I have no idea how, but, no idea. Oh, and I was going to tell you the other day that during, one of my classes, I take classes with a lot of people who are lightheaded, and I brought up the idea that the rescuers of Reginald Denny, I'm sure you can recall that whole incident when he was rescued by, some great people and who took him to the hospital and so on. Reginald
Denny was the man in the L.A. riots. I think he was a truck driver who was pulled out of his vehicle, I think, and beaten, and they threw a cinder block at his head, I think, in the L.A. riots by blacks, and they kicked him in the face or something like that. He got beaten almost to death, right? Or did he? Yeah. Did he die or did he live? I don't even remember anymore.
He lived, but he's not the same person. And the people who were responsible for it, they got like a slap on the wrist. And I think the reason why that was the case was because they brought their past. Oh, this guy was like hustled by the cops growing up, or they came from broken homes, and it was a whole bunch of garbage.
It's an explanation. It's not. It's an explanation for why they turned out that way. It's not an excuse of responsibility. They have to take responsibility. Yeah, that's just a shame.
Yeah, I said that they should get the Medal of Freedom or something like that. And there was a few of the students, they did not like the thought of that. I'm like, wow.
You're talking about Medal of Freedom for the people that rescued him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's brave to go out there in the middle of the L.A. riots. I remember I lived 10, 15 miles east of L.A. during those times in the early 90s, whenever that was. And I remember the smoke, it being smoky in my backyard, my parents' backyard.
Wow.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, the last time something like that happened in the Chicagoland area was during the race riots of the 1960s.
Wow.
And, all hell broke loose on the west side and the south side and so on, following the death of Martin Luther King.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Well, well, overall, it's nice talking to you there.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Lynn. Do you watch Church with Jesse Lee Peterson?
Well, the thing is, I haven't gotten around to it because typically I have so much going on because I do computer work and I do computer coding. And my life is pretty much immersed in that stuff.
Yeah.
And typically, I listen to you guys while I'm doing coding and stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, there's a lot.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of guys who I tell about you guys who have similar views to you guys, who do the coding stuff, and these younger guys are. I'm like amazed at how conservative they are.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And there's this one Vietnamese guy I talked to, and he's on the coding stuff as well. His family were refugees on the boats that were leaking out of Vietnam in the 1980s to countries like Indonesia and the Philippines.
Yeah.
And this guy is an avid hater of communists. Like all the socialism stuff,
Right.
This guy will go out of his way to talk, to basically belittle advocates of that stuff.
Yeah.
He does not like one bit.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
that's unusual almost, because some of these people that come as refugees and immigrants from those countries, they get their education here, and that education only encourages them to hate America and to embrace socialism. It's so wrong.
Like another thing I was going to mention, recently the Chicago teachers striked for a pay raise. I think they got like 16%.
Yeah.
And the Chicago police are struggling to get a 10% pay increase, and they're not getting it. I'm thinking to myself, wow, to go out and brainwash people for communism and socialism versus policing it. You're better off going out there. You get a pay raise teaching it.
One of the cities that most needs police. Man. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't have the cops that I grew up to back in the 1980s and the 90s.
Right.
Cops who were out here to virtually stop criminal activity before it began.
That's nice.
Today's cop is like garbage.
Yep.
Today's police officers. I mean, you have a few who are out to make a difference, but some of these guys are just garbage. They're
Yeah.
out to
I'm
get
sure.
paid. Yeah, it's pathetic. Some of these guys.
There's so many female cops. I know so many female friends from high school and younger than me that have turned out to be cops. I knew one that was a mail lady, then she's a cop. Single mother.
Lady.
Oh man, what a mess. I appreciate you, Lynn. Nice talking with you, man. You can you can podcast Church with Jesse Lee Peterson. You don't have to watch it live, but it is available for podcasts. So go check it out. I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I watch his Fallen State, and I usually enjoy it. Watching the stuff he says and the skits and so on. They're rather comical.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Lynn.
You take care.
You too. Have a nice weekend.
All right, bye.
All right. Let me get to Brent out of California. Brent, what's up, man?
Hey, James. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I am. Thank you.
My question was just on the YouTube purge that is supposed to happen on December 10th. I don't know if you've heard about it yet.
I have heard. I don't know that there's a purge coming. I mean, I imagine like bound to happen almost, right? But I know that they're supposed to update their terms of service, or terms of service going into effect, new terms, right? And yeah, they've already kicked off Owen Benjamin, and they kicked off Red Ice TV, and these people are like decent people. Edgy sometimes, yeah. But it's so ridiculous. It's evil. Owen is now on DLive.tv, so that's cool. And you can follow Jesse there too. But anyways.
Yeah, I heard that Owen Benjamin was kicked off recently.
Yep.
So I was thinking maybe a big one. These might be some like warm ups. Did you hear like a small comedian like Sam Tripoli was kicked off too without an explanation?
You know, I'm not surprised. I've heard his name around, over the years, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he's somehow associated with a little bit of the alt-right, which to me, the alt-right is not a negative. It's just they are standing up for whites and for Western civilization, but, especially whites, because whites are especially under attack. And some of them criticize Jews quite openly, and that's controversial nowadays. And some of them do hate. Most people are full of hate, but their brand of hatred is especially non-kosher or non. I guess that's the right word for it, right? The left thinks, and the right, honestly, a lot of the right think that their hatred is better, more acceptable than the alt-right's hatred. But it's all the same hatred. But yeah, it's a shame. Am I wrong that Tripoli has been associated with alt-right?
I'm not really sure. I've only heard a little bit about him too. I heard about him being canceled on Red Bar the other day.
Okay.
I know he's kind of friends with some Hollywood comedians and stuff too.
Okay.
Like maybe it's leaking over there. It seems like we're getting some outrage from some of the Hollywood comedians.
I was thinking about this during the men's forum last night about these bans, and I recommend, I'm kind of taking a cue from Jesse from this. Don't overreact to it. yes, fight against it hard. Call on Trump to stand with us. Don't be mad at Trump for not speaking enough as much in our opinion on it. But those things are good. We should advocate for free speech. But men becoming like real solid men is so much more powerful and influential than spewing facts on a YouTube platform, because people, when they see society crumbling and they see the evil winning, this has happened to me, so I'm like kind of speaking from experience, and I see other people doing it, I think. They overreact and want to spew their facts. Like, you'll see guys that are like troll in the live chat talking, and I call it troll, but they're just, they think that they're spreading the truth about the Jews, let's say. You'll see that a lot. And then they think that they're fighting the good fight because they're spreading awareness and knowledge and stuff like that. But the winning, it comes from how you live and how you are, more so than spewing facts that are often going to turn people off, even if they are true facts, So the way your life is your platform is so much more powerful than these social media platforms, even though they do have a huge reach, So it's just a nice lesson that people should take to heart. And especially like the Jesse's point, don't be angry. That's like above all. Yeah. But yeah, it is a major concern for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You heard that it sounds like this Sam Tripoli guy was kind of like pulling an Owen, I guess, before he got kicked off.
Okay.
I guess, and then when he got kicked off, he was showing some outrage on social media at Owen Benjamin, and he was like, "Oh, I should have listened to Owen back then when everyone was shunning him, and it's a shame that Owen Benjamin doesn't have my back now." Stuff like that.
But we don't need each other's backs. I mean, it's good to do it. It's good to support one another. But people, if you're, it's kind of like what Jesse tells people: God is with you, you'll be fine. So, anyways, thank you for the tip on that. I appreciate that, Brent.
Hey, no problem.
All right. Hey, do you catch Church with Jesse Lee Peterson?
I saw a little bit about it.
Okay.
Are you able to like attend those events or something?
Yeah, you can. If you're ever in the Los Angeles area or, in driving distance, definitely take a Sunday. Come on down. It's at 11 a.m. that we start. Doors open at 10:30. I definitely recommend it.
All right, let me check it out.
Yeah. Cool, Brent. Take care, man.
All right, thanks. You too.
All right. Rick out of Hampton, Virginia. Everybody's favorite caller.
Like to think.
Rick, how are you?
What's up, man? I'm all right, James. A good Friday morning, Friday afternoon here in Hampton, Virginia. How it is over there on the left coast?
It's so beautiful. It's a beautiful day. And tomorrow it's supposed to rain, I think. And maybe the next day we will see. But right now it's clear skies. A little bit of clouds, which are beautiful. So I love it.
Wow, man. Cool,
Lots of homeless
man.
around. But somebody was like surprised that it wasn't as much homeless as he thought that it was going to be. He thought the streets were going to be lined all across LA, and they are. But it's whatever. It's like the
Hey,
new
I
normal,
feel bad
right?
for you guys, man. Y'all conservative, man, but y'all in a liberal state, man. Look,
Yeah.
you want to see the liberal policies work, let's go to California.
Somebody's got to represent, and
Yeah.
some people are. Jesse's great at it. It's funny
Taxes
seeing
are
him out in the
killing
world.
y'all out there.
Say that again?
You know, I think taxes are high in California, and
Yep.
one of our businesses won't come to California.
And the rent
You take half
is
the
too
income.
high.
Yeah, especially that. I mean, that's why you probably got a lot of homeless because they can't afford the rent.
I mean, that's part of it, but as Dr. Drew says, who's been on Jesse's show, a major part of it is drug addiction and mental illness, which are caused by other things. It's not just the money. These people like it. They like being homeless.
Hey, you know what? And then if they like it, then it ain't no problem.
Oh, it's a problem. They make life messy, a mess and ugly
really?
for the rest of us. So
It's that bad, huh?
yeah, they are diminishing business in people in areas. You know, they're half naked, showing their butts, taking dumps
God,
on the
dog,
sidewalk and just being disgusting. And people don't even want to walk into a business or a restaurant or whatever. So it's a mess. They're causing damage.
I didn't think it was that bad, man.
Yeah.
I think it was like, you know how you have a few homeless? Like, you go to New York, you have a few. But, man,
and there's some classy.
Life.
There are some classy homeless people, or less unclassy, let's call them. But yeah, there's some really disgusting people and violent too, in some cases.
I can say this, James. Lord say the same. There's no way I can be homeless, man. I got too many families, and then I'm willing to work to stay off the street. A lot of times, people are homeless to me because they've been burned all their bridges, and they have nowhere left to go.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
They blame their family members. You know, I mean, sit up there and raise so much hell with all their family members, so then burned all their bridges, and they sit up there and scream and blame them. They don't want you there because you're going to cause so much trouble when they did let you stay there.
Yeah. No, in fact, there's been, but there are people that are getting out of that. There's young people and old who are coming out of the homelessness thing. Some of them are hearing Jesse's show or whatever, and they're waking up. So even the homeless, there is hope. Anyways,
There's
man.
hope, man. And I just want. Oh, go ahead, James.
No, that's it.
Wow, you know, it's just a shame, man, how people are getting so oversensitive. You remember that? You know how they suspended the 49ers announcer?
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
You hear that story yet? Well, anyway, they suspended him for one game.
Is that where the guy said that the ball is the same color as the man's skin?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see none. If you hear his interview, he was complimenting Lamar Jackson. I don't, you know, when I hear people talk, I try to listen to their heart, listen to their heart, what they're talking about. I don't believe he had any racial bone in his heart when he was saying, describing Lamar Jackson. He was just giving them compliments, man.
He was too innocent. He's too innocent. He's like a child. And children are innocent, just tell the truth and don't have any guilt or ulterior motives about it. And everybody reads into it and it's all overreacting, feeling guilty because he tells the truth.
Yeah, that's all he did. And it seemed like when white, television people or sports announcers say something, anything out the way, they either want them fired or lose their job. But when you get these blacks, Hispanics, they can say something out the way, and then they just say they just overlook it, man. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the double standard, man. I mean,
yeah. But that's really the way that the ball bounces. That's the world, you know.
And then most blacks always say, "Well, they've been treating us bad, and this is what they create." I said, "No, you should do what's right now."
Right.
Them past people. How come y'all don't get on Africa case? They're treating blacks still in slavery, raping them, and mistreating them in Africa. And nobody, and y'all quiet as church mouse. Oh, y'all.
Yep. Ignorant. Or ignorant.
It's ridiculous, yeah. They won't ask them for reparations because Africa already told them no.
Exactly.
We sorry for our ancestors' bad behavior, but we're not giving you a dime.
Right. All right, Rick, man, I appreciate you, man.
James, love you, man. God bless you guys, man. Have a great weekend. Love y'all.
You as well. Take care. Charles out of St. Louis, Missouri, I think. Charles, how are you? Charles. Going once. Going twice. I'm going to go to Louis out of Idaho. Louis or Luis.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey.
How are you?
Fine, man. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, I think I have something about hate.
Yeah, oh yeah, hate and all that. It's just a play on words, that's all.
Oh, right on. Hate and hate.
You're doing good. You're doing good, man. That's all I want to say. Have a good weekend, okay, man?
All right, Louis. I appreciate that. TheHateReport.com. All right, Louis.
Bye-bye.
By the way, do you catch church with Jesse Lee Peterson?
I go to church every day. I'm Catholic. I go to daily mass.
Oh, right on.
I have a disability, and I go to church. It gives me a reason to get up in the morning.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's important to stay active when you got stuff going on.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, have you ever seen Jesse's church on his YouTube channel, Bond Rebuilding the Man?
I listen to Jesse for over probably a year and a half, 2 years now, and I think the guy is awesome.
Yeah. Yep, definitely. Cool, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate you too.
All right, talk to you again, man.
All right, take it easy, bye.
All right. Charles out of St. Louis, he was just not paying attention. Probably had that Obama phone. I think he's the guy that talks all slow. Like, you. Except he doesn't talk that fast. Let me skip this house. I'm going to skip this housekeeper's story and just talk about this young woman who hates her father, because I have a couple of minutes here. Let's see. So let's go to Girl O'Mara hates pig cop racist father, Twitter. So I come across this tweet. I was looking at, some famous blue checkmark liberal who retweeted this tweet that I'm showing you. Show the one with the picture of the cup. This is the first tweet that I saw. So when you look closely, I'm looking at a tweet, right? Tweets are on Twitter, and Twitter is where you tweet out words, right? I don't want to explain it. So this woman, Amy Slanchik, is probably a reporter, and she tweeted, Kiefer Police Chief Johnny O'Mara says one of his officers picked up 5 cups of coffee today at the Glenpool Starbucks for his dispatchers as a thank you for working on Thanksgiving. Pig was printed on all 5 labels, he says, according to News on 6. And so this is just a local news reporter giving a local news story. And that was on November 30th. It's a little Thanksgiving story. Oh, no, that was on November 28th, that tweet. And this was quote tweeted on November 30th as this little news story of Starbucks employees calling cops pigs on the label of the coffee that they make. They make a cup of coffee. They ask, what's your name? And Officer James Hake. No, Officer James. Officer James, that's a pig. And so she wrote pig instead of James, right? Gave Officer James a venti hot chocolate under the name Pig, and that was written on all 5 of the cups labels. And so it's a story, blah, blah, blah. They apologize, and they suspended that employee who put that. The employee claims, it was just a joke, an inside joke meant to be between myself and a fellow employee or coworker, whatever, friend. But this employee, after an internal investigation with Starbucks, was, I guess, put on leave or something like that. I don't know. But after this little story went viral, I didn't hear about it until just now. This person on Twitter named Miss O'Mara quote tweets Amy Slanchik's story and says, "This is my father," referring to Miss O'Mara is tweeting about her father, Kiefer Police Chief Johnny O'Mara, local police chief. She says, "This is my father, and I'd like to say that he is absolutely a pig, and I'd like to thank the brave men and women from Starbucks for their service." And this is, a clever, funny tweet, but it is also heartfelt. She's serious. She's not joking when she says this. And it's kind of funny because normally you say, I'd like to thank the brave men and women of the police for their service. But no, she's talking about the Starbucks and this got 92,000 retweets, 511,000 likes. And then she said, followed it up, for the record, my father has zero business being a police officer. He was blatantly, proudly racist when I was a kid, said things that I would never repeat. He treats women like dogs, including his own daughter. Oink, oink. So she hates men, she hates her father, and she sounds just like her mama. And people found like her on Twitter. These have cuss words, but people dug up her old tweets, and she said, my N-word, my M-effing N-word. And she's, oh no, that as an adult, I'm sorry for that, because she tweeted out stuff as a kid. And she said, I don't like how we were going pro-black and anti-white back in 2015. I know the blacks have suffered, but it just isn't the way equality is achieved. And somehow that's like a negative tweet from her about race or something like that. But that's like a logical tweet. She was more logical as a kid in 2015. But anyways, she is just another example of the hatred of fathers. And it's not even her real hatred of fathers. She's talking about he treats women like dogs, including his own daughter. I'd like to hear his side of the story. But, you know, it's kind of like Jesse says, she's just like her mama. All right, guys, we'll see you on Sunday. I'll tell you about the Trump housekeepers on that day. Sunday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, of course. The Hake Report and Church on Sunday, Church with Jesse Lee Peterson. rebuildingtheman.com/church. Subscribe to Bond Rebuilding the Man YouTube channel. And of course, I think we have a new Fallen State episode coming out today. Is that true? Yeah, Fallen State episode today, noon Pacific time. That's Jesse Lee Peterson's channel, The Fallen State. TheFallenState.tv or YouTube channel, The Fallen State. It is also on BitChute. BitChute.com/TheFallenStateTV. All right, guys. Take care.